if you run out of toilet paper, don't use poison ivy leaves. I did that one time. You get a rash on your ash. Don't use cactus. I tried that once too. Not a good idea. My favorite is a white rabbit. Hold them by the hind legs. That thing does a nice, efficient job. Alright, here we go. Fire starting. 10 different ways without matches. So my first technique, if you want to start a fire really fast without matches, go down to a swamp and drink some swamp water. You get a bad case of Giardia lamblia. And the gas from that will ignite 100 acres. I've had Giardia at least twice, probably 3 times. I just didn't know it. And the 2 times I knew I had it, the effects of Giardia, a parasite from drinking swamp water, it comes from the feces of other mammals like beavers, cattle. From drinking that swamp water, to me, it felt like I ate 100 gallons of beans mixed with cayenne pepper, Pringles jalapeno chips, and a whole lot of that rum and whiskey over there. By the time I was done, the gas was so bad, if anyone would have hit a spark, the entire swamp would have gone up in flames. So whatever you do, purify your water. Now, you're probably wondering, I'm going to do fire starting without matches here. Why would I have Pringle jalapeno chips? Anybody know? Would any of you guys over here know? Like, why am I having Pringles chips? Jalapeno. Huh? Yeah, the cardboard could be flammable. But believe it or not, the chips themselves are flammable.
I thought they're baked, not fried.
Oh no, they're full of oil. Now the worse the chips are for you, the better they light.
Oh,
so
Fritos.
if you buy like Fritos, Cheetos,
yeah, Fritos are good.
Pringles, Doritos, hot nacho Doritos, those chips, they go right up in flames. So you're going to see that all happening right here. So I'm going to start with the easiest techniques. And I'm going to use something that's not flammable here, that's safe to demonstrate. So I'm going to start off with some steel wool. That's the easiest way to do this. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to I buy some extra fine or super fine steel wool. Okay? So I'm going to take a little bit, not too much because I don't want to light the entire building on fire here. So a little bit of steel wool. Now what else do you think I need? Anybody know? I could light the steel wool with a flint stick. I could do that. One of these flint strikers that give off sparks. Okay? So what I could do is I could hit some sparks into it. Notice I have right up here the fire extinguisher just in case. Alright, but what I should try to do is use some batteries. Alright, so somewhere in my survival pack, I should have some extra batteries stored around
Got
here.
2 on the ground.
Oh, is that right? Where do you see them?
Between the sanitizer and the curtain.
Near the rope at the back.
Near the rope and oh, those 2. Okay, yeah. All right, let's try those. I don't know if those are alive or dead. We're going to find out in a second. All right, you can see this is real life. Part of survival is adapting to the situation, staying calm, not panicking, having a sense of humor, and being positive. So as you can see, I'm doing all of those. Here we go. A little bit of steel wool. Now, here's the thing. This steel wool is a multi-use item. I can scrub my pots and pans with it. Makes a good mustache. You know, it has a lot of uses. For example, it makes an extra good nose hair. Look at that. How's that look? What do you think? Huh? How's it going? You know, so it's got a lot of uses. But, more importantly, what I can do is I can take the steel wool and a couple of batteries. Now I'm going to remove the birch bark out of here for now. I don't want to really get a big fire going here. So I'm going to, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect the steel wool, 2 batteries. There it goes. Catches. Now, what's going to happen is I would throw my birch bark, pine needles, dried grasses on there and blow it into a flame. But before I do that, I'm going to show you a few other techniques. Some other stuff I would have. Before I get that to work, I would make sure I have my birch bark ready, and peel it fine and squish it so it's nice, fine, powdery. Alright, so get that all ready. Then I need some small twigs and kindling. Maybe some dried grasses. This stuff is really good. Look at this. That's nice tinder. So you have to have tinder really fine. Tinder is so fine, it's as fine as the hair on the back of a frog's legs. That's fine. Since frogs don't have hair, pretty sure. Anyway, so some tinder, steel wool. But what I'm going to show you now is another way to use the steel wool, but instead of just the steel wool, I'm going to use some hand sanitizer. So now watch this technique. A little bit of steel wool, but instead of using the batteries, I'm just going to use the flint stick and I'm going to hit a spark. Here we go. This will add some spark to your life. Or as Tom Hanks in Castaways always was shouting, fire! Alright, here we go. Oh, there we go, no problem. Now, that's going to go out pretty fast, so I'm going to put some hand sanitizer on there. There we go, now we got the hand sanitizer working. In case you didn't know, this has like alcohol in it. It's totally flammable. Most people who are lost in the wilderness who can't get a fire started didn't realize in their survival pack or first aid kit, they have chapstick, that's flammable. You got duct tape, that's petroleum based and flammable. You might have tampons, that's highly flammable. Fleece, that's really flammable. We'll leave the tampons for now. There's lots of stuff you will have in a survival kit. Now look at that Purell or hand sanitizer go. Now, what I'm going to do, that's going to go out pretty soon, so I've got to make sure that that fire doesn't go out. So I'm going to take some Pringles. Jalapeno. Now watch this. Pringles jalapeno chips. Now there's two ways these can get a fire going. First way is if I eat them. Whoa, oh my God. I got some bad gas coming. Anyway, but another way is to make a teepee. Make yourself a Pringles fire. And there we go. Simple as that. Whoa, those are hot. Holy mackerel. I might have to use that extinguisher. Give it a second or two. So using steel wool, a flint sparker, and some potato chips, you can have a nice easy fire in 2 seconds. And the reason I'm showing you this, besides the fact that I have a really nauseating sense of humor, is that you got to improvise in the survival situation. You never know what you might have on you that could be super flammable, that you can start an easy campfire to warm yourself up. Because fire in a survival situation is right at the top of the list. The search and rescue recommend, if you're lost, first admit that you're lost. Second thing is stop. Sit, think, observe, and plan. That's to calm yourself down and reduce the adrenaline. Most people who are lost, they don't do any of that. They just, hey, nightfall's coming. The adrenaline takes over. They start to panic. Panic is the result of the 7 sisters of death. Cold, fear, fatigue, loneliness, hunger, thirst, boredom, insects, injuries, other people panicking. And next thing you know, they're on a run to nowhere, going in circles. Nightfall comes, now what do you do to stay warm? You don't have a fire, you don't have a shelter, you got to stay on the move. And that's where accidents happen. And then they get more lost. And then the searchers are looking for a needle in a haystack. Whereas if you admit that you're lost, stop, sit, think, observe, and plan, and then stay put. In probably 95% or more of the cases of lost persons, if people would have stayed put, they would have been found alive. A classic case that happened last spring, that very unfortunate couple in Nevada. I did a CBC radio across coast to coast talking about that. They went out for a sightseeing tour. They were on their way from BC to Nevada. They took a side tour to go check out some beautiful scenery. And they ended up going down the wrong road because their GPS said that's okay. They had a car GPS, not a handheld. And it was probably outdated, who knows. They ended up stuck to their axles in mud. 49 days later, some lost ATVers came across the van and she was still alive. Unbelievable. She survived 49 days waiting in that car in semi-winter conditions. Her husband didn't follow the rules of admit that you're stuck, stop, sit, think, observe, and plan, and stay put. Because if you stay put, then you have you build a shelter, you get a fire going, you get water, still going. He decided after 3 days that I better go out and find help. By the way, that's probably a male response too. I hate to get into a gender thing here, but I'll leave that for another seminar. So he decided, hey, I'm tough, I'm going to find my way out. He took the car GPS and decided to program it to get me to the nearest town. Of course, that would have died within an hour or two. The batteries don't last long on a car GPS. And it's not meant to be used over land. It's not a land handheld GPS, you know, with topo maps and stuff like that. They have never found his body. They have yet to find the poor guy. And I don't think they ever will, whatever's left. Because the minute he left that car, the chances of surviving more than a week went way down. The searchers will tell you that after a week to 10 days, the odds are very slim. Whereas if you stayed put, they found in Haiti, people were weeks buried in the rubble, still survived without water. Still alive. So that's a key ingredient to survival. But fire is right up there on that list. All right, let's try something else here. I'm going to take some cotton balls and some Vaseline. And I'm going to start the fire. Now, this was inspired by the movie Deliverance. Anyone know the song Dueling Banjos? Anyway, we'll leave that for now. That was a very bad sense of humor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take these cotton balls. Actually, I'm not going to use too many. Last time I made a huge fire. A few cotton balls. And I'm going to soak them in Vaseline or petroleum jelly. No name petroleum jelly will work. So soak that in there. And essentially what I'm doing here is I'm making my own fuel cubes. You can buy fuel cubes in the stores, the camping stores, they sell them, they're not cheap. Or you can make your own. So you take cotton balls, petroleum jelly, and I get rid of all the petroleum jelly off my hands because it's flammable, it's made of petroleum. So I use that to moisturize my skin and keep looking young. Right? You never know my true age using this stuff. Oh, it's not nice. Hey, what do you guys think? Anyway, put that aside. Now, watch what's going to happen. I'm going to hit a spark into those cotton balls. Here we go. Look how quick that was. Piece of cake. Anybody could do that. So now, in the worst conditions, that's going to stay lit for 15 or 20 minutes and give me more than enough time to get my tinder, my kindling, my fuel wood, make a teepee, and get a good fire going. I'm not in a panic. Versus if I'm just trying to light a match or my lighter, in bad conditions, they don't work too well. You got to have other stuff in there too. Something else you can carry with you is a roadside flare. A little portable roadside flare. If you just activate it, you get a huge flame, right? And that could start your campfire real fast if you're in a real life and death situation. All right, so we showed you how to use a flint, getting sparks, steel woolen batteries, petroleum jelly and cotton balls, hand sanitizer. Another thing you could do is you could carry a magnesium flint stick. These magnesium metal matches also work really well. What you do is you shave shavings of this. I'll show you what you do. Hands on here. You take the magnesium block and you shave these shavings of magnesium into your nest of tinder. And they flare way up. So you make a pile of them. Let me do this from scratch. Watch this. Take a little bit of steel wool. Okay. I'm just going to turn this around because I know that's probably hot. A little bit of steel wool there. And I'm going to put the shavings of magnesium in there. Watch what happens. A whole bunch of shavings in there. Now, I could also add somebody's beard. Anyone have a beard I could borrow and chop off? Or someone's belly button lint? That'll work. It's very flammable. Okay, so I'm hitting the sparks in there. You can boo if my sense of humor is nauseating.